Hello, everybody. Welcome. Rosa Psych Investigator. Hello, huh. Everybody, welcome. Rosa Psych Investigator. So, guys, it's about 7:45 Eastern Time on Sunday, December 7th, when I'm recording. And this topic that I want to cover is sort of broad, but it's a continuation of yesterday's, which was about Trump administration's new overt turn towards Russia and the document they made public on Friday. And now the question that I want to ask is about one of the things that was in that document, which was Trump's open um, hostile attitude towards Europe and NATO. Okay, which is of course this is Russia's goal. And just to show you that Russia actually praised Trump. Okay, this is the first. Okay, here is just 1 second. So so today Russia says, of course, new U.S. security strategy aligns with Russia's vision, Moscow says. Russia has welcomed U.S. President Donald Trump's. Oh God, what the hell? Some really loud ad just popped up. I'll turn it off. Russia has welcomed U.S. President Donald Trump's new national security strategy, calling it largely consistent with Moscow's vision. The 30-page document unveiled by the U.S. administration this week suggests Europe is facing civilizational erasure and does not cast Russia as a threat to the U.S. Combating foreign influence, ending mass migration, and rejecting the EU's perceived practice of censorship are mentioned as other priorities in the report. Okay, so, all right, so that's they're admitting it openly, right? So, but again, like I said, the question is what happens with Europe, okay, and what happens with NATO, because now the U.S. is, I mean, we have seen this, we have seen J.D. Vance do this, but now the U.S. is openly against Europe, and I had said on yesterday's video that especially when I had the vision about the mountain, that they were on top of a mountain, and I saw Mark Rutte sort of below in the mountain, and it was all very interesting. Okay, so I formulated the question: how is the EU taking the new Trump-Putin alliance position? What will the EU do about it? Let me just do the protection. I like to ask for protection, a beautiful ray of light coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I fill my lungs as I breathe out. I create a circle. I step into it. I feel protected. I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources, that it create the good and all the good, and so it is. Okay, so how is the EU taking the new Trump-Putin alliance position? What will the EU do about it? So I see, it's interesting. I see, even though I have a separate question about NATO, but it's a similar question. I see Mark Rutte kind of like freaking out because he thought, oh, I was talking to Trump. He seems reasonable. And then not, right? So then I see that the borders are shutting, like they're getting closer, very close and aligned because they see Ukraine as the front, right? That I said before, I said it yesterday, that the new NAZI party, like, or aggression that was like the NAZI folks in the Second World War is now Rush, Rush. I'm curious to see how the subtitles are going to do. By the way, just wanted to tell you that the reason I started doing subtitles, and I'm appreciating your comments. I just I was just curious because I sometimes watch short videos that have subtitles. I like them. Even obviously it's in my I can understand the language, but for some reason I did it. But I downloaded a new app for editing videos that I actually nobody's paying me. I really like called CapCut. I used to just use Canva, but Canva is a little bit clunky. So this CapCut app has automatic subtitles that you can choose to add to your video, just so you know. Okay. Anyway, going back here to the EU. Um, as I was saying, I see Mark Rutte kind of freaking out, and I see that they're shutting the borders. They're essentially preparing for greater defense and getting together. But it tells me also that Trump hasn't calculated how much the U.S. will lose from from the EU allies. I saw also that the Trump administration was really upset that some German companies or European companies are not going to order American arms. Like, really? Did not know that they wouldn't do that, right? Of course they wouldn't. Why would they? So this is how I see it. Now it's a wake up. I mean, is it really a wake up call for Putin? Now I see that it's like, wow, it escalated fast, really. But I still feel like Rutte does not want the confrontation. I think honestly, like I said, if they had nipped it in the bud, he wouldn't be here today. But so what's going to happen? So you know what? Let me actually go straight to the NATO part because that's what it is. I'm just going to substitute the questions here because that's what I'm picking up anyway. So, how is NATO taking the new Trump-Putin alliance that is openly hostile to Europe? What will NATO do about it? Yeah, I see they're having all these exercises. And I think they may shut down Russia in some ways, but I want, oh, this is interesting, guys. Wow, this is amazing. So let me actually skip forward. Um, I'm going to go to the next question, then we're going to go back just to show you because it's already given me an answer here. So the last question of this subject was going to be, is this the moment I have seen in the past when Trump goes to the military to ask the military to protect Russian interests? Because technically speaking, now that the US has openly taken a position, formally taken a position that is pro-Russia, right, and very much against Europe, then there is the risk with NATO, right, that if NATO, let's say, they're going to defend Europe against Russian interest attacks, that the US could then work for Russia, right? This is technically they have to see it for what it is. They have to take it at face value, right? They stated very clearly where they stand. And this then, because then I saw again when I went back to so I'm going to go back to this because for those of you who have followed me for a while, I always saw that the downfall of the Trump government would happen, or his removal, or whatever that is, would happen when he comes to the military and says, you have to protect Russia. And we're seeing it, right? Very, very close to that. So this the answer to this question about NATO goes to this because I see that NATO, like I said, is a bit concerned that if they attack Russia, then the US could do something to help Russia. But then I see that this is the moment when our military does not align with the Trump position. I've said this before. And I know I understand you're like, well, but the military hasn't, there's a lot more going on. Okay. So, so, um, so does it make sense? So what I saw here is that I see they're doing a lot of exercises close to the borders of like the countries that border on Russia, and those, they know that they have to protect that. And I see them eventually attacking Russia okay, that makes sense. I just somehow feel like that the US military is going to sign with NATO and will, in fact, um, like, tell me more. Let's see, there's like a phone call. That's right. And then he's kind of, neutralized sounds like nothing physical is going to be done to Trump. Like he'll be fine physically, but his powers will be removed. And I think this coup of the Russians, right, essentially, right, of the pro-Russia, the Vichy regime of America, because that's what they are now. And the Vichy regime, if you're not familiar with it, that's the government of French citizens, while NIZI were occupying France during World War II. So treason, truly. Anyway, so that's what I see. So in the end, it shows me that they would attack when the moment when they have to, let's say throw trash to the curb, then it would be the moment when all of this happens. Okay. So so that's very interesting. Now, what would NATO do? Like, what would NATO do something different than they're doing now? Talking tougher and also sticking with Europe, knowing that I see that they feel like the US is not going to be like this forever, that it's temporary, but they take it seriously. All right. So, okay. All right. So now let me go to the last question because I mentioned this because it came up. Okay. Is this the moment I have seen in the past when Trump goes to the military to ask the military to protect Russian interests? Yes, that's right. He says we have changed our position. As you know, it was written in that document. You have no excuse not to side with them. He makes it very clear to them. And then I'm telling you, is going to ask them to go over to Ukraine and stop Ukraine. I'm not kidding. I'm serious, 100%. And don't let the Ukrainians attack us, even though Russia is the one who invaded, right, Ukraine. So, wow, a little. Yeah, I see somebody pressing some button, and that's it. And it goes into all of this. Wow. Okay. So now, I have to put this like lip like moisturizer thing. I do have my sort of I don't know if it's cold or allergies or whatever, but um anyway, well, what does it have to do with anything? Hmm? Okay. So we're close. Yes, we're very close to this. Yeah. Can you believe we're living through this? It's kind of crazy still. But okay, so I have a visitor here. Okay, so okay, I know this figure that's coming through here. Earlier, I spoke to him, and I thought he didn't want me to say anything, but I think it's okay now for some reason why. No, it's okay. You have given the whole context. So again, I know this is a figure that most people don't like. Okay, it's Dick Cheney, and he came. I had seen him. I felt him come through, and then Corinne also said that she felt him, and we talked, Corinne and I, today, and I picked up from him, from Dick Cheney, saying that no matter what they did, like he recognizes the ills that they've done, right? When he with Bush, but they were never working for Russia. This is true, and that this is truly that type of administration, and that he says that there's something. And he did mention. I guess I can say it. Okay, Biden put something in place that has to do with using the military to assist with foreign interests, and he did say that Biden knew that we're at risk here with a foreign directed government. And in the worst case scenario, how to go about this. And okay, you know what? Let me just so okay, so he's saying this that there is something in place that is not going to allow the US military to be used for to benefit Russia. Okay, because really truly now they have taken their gloves off and they have taken their masks off and they're telling the world where they stand. And now and you see the next step is to go to the military and say, we're not going to work with Ukraine. I want US troops to be. And it's saying to me that the plan that Trump is going to go to the military with is to go to like some like headquarters in those regions like Donetsk or Luhansk, in the occupied regions of Ukraine, and to have American servicemen guard those regions for the Russians. Can you imagine? Just I'm telling you this, and it's saying it's going to come out that he will have done that. So, and that this is going to trigger this plan, and that Biden trained. That there's something. It's just I'm being told that there's something in place, and again, there's not, guys. I think he's coming to kind of, I don't say reassure us in some way, but and I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, but Dick Cheney, but I have to say, and that's that situation. I think he'll be a good person to do this type of thing. I don't think he would have a problem with that. So I see that again. He's saying yes, absolutely, Rosie. He's like, absolutely. I know. I'm seeing here on the other side that I've done some bad things, but now nothing is as bad as this. As bad as giving the country away to some other country just so I can get some money like that. No. So okay, so then that's right. And he keeps showing me the image. Remember when 9/11 was happening, that Bush was in some airplane, nobody knew where they were because they had to keep hiding, keep flying away or whatever. So there's something in place, and all the other presidents have known. And I see that even George Bush, yes, no, they're not gonna. They have developed these plans, and it's saying, especially after 9/11, there are plans in place, and Obama has. They all know about this, and they have to rehearse these plans from time to time. But we're not supposed to know the exact details of it. It's just so you understand that it's like the Russians, of course, they would want it to have like a Kremlin version in the US to be like West Russia or whatever. But it will be um he will be defeated. Okay, will not, that's what I'm getting. That's their plan, but it's not going to happen. They'll be stopped. Okay, so this is interesting. All right. Okay, so maybe I should just look at some cards because it's interesting. All right. Okay. Okay, so let's start with the first question here. What will NATO do about the Trump-Putin overt alliance? Stuff is coming out, issues with money. Getting what we want. They're gonna get what they want. Okay. I wonder if there's like financial issues coming out about make sure that stuff comes out about Trump. Interesting. Interesting because okay, interesting. It tells me information where warfare at this point is more effective. They may make public some things that they have. So that's interesting. It's like the information war. Okay, here is ideas or plans, money, financial plans for their friend. Oh, the ally, that's right. So it could be financially helping finance Ukraine. The ally here would be, let's see. Okay, a big prize. Sadness. Priest is the advisor. Okay, interesting. Prize. I wonder. Mhm. It's when this card keeps, okay, success. Lady, well, recognized. Oh, I wonder if it's about Kamala because the recognition of the woman. I wonder. That's really interesting. So it's possible that they have information about the election and they couldn't make it public. How interesting. Wow, that's interesting. So let me just ask then. So, okay, so again, I'm asking just because the card said it. All right, so will they, essentially I'm asking for a confirmation. Will NATO then sharing for about what happened in the 2024 elections? Because I've always seen that they have information about this, trying to insert themselves, reposition, victory. So will they hear sickness and experienced losses? No, cross, that's guilt. News about guilt. Wow, this is Crossroads. Wow, goosebumps. Card of the election. The burdensome news, heavy news about the election. That's it. Wow, so it's possible. Very interesting. Here are the older men. This could be somebody like Trump. The advisors, people behind the scenes, sick. Now, sick, it's interesting because we have sick here and sick here, right? The same card, malady, somebody in bed. I wonder if it's like, their sickness of, what they've done to the women, if you know what I mean. So very interesting. Yeah, it's saying because I honestly thought to myself when I asked this question, I thought the answer would be something like that they would attack back, they would do something like that militarily, like they call it kinetic, right? Kinetic warfare. But no, it tells me that they will act in the information warfare domain. They will share the truth. That's interesting because it's saying that's what Putin did to Trump, right? He used information to manipulate Trump. Okay, so that's really interesting. Wow. Whoa. Okay, so lots of revelations. Now, okay, will Trump ask the military to help Russia on the ground, as I have seen in my vision? And if so, what will the US military, do? Okay, so let's see. Will Trump ask the military to, let's see, because that's what like I said, I had seen in the vision. Wow, family manipulation. Okay, you can't. Happy family. They can't, he's stuck, he can do something. So will Trump ask the military to help Russia? The House. Friend. That's it. We're friends. We're friends. Information. Interesting. And here we have the house again. Let it. Information about parties. See, it's so interesting that this everything seems to hark back ship something foreign offer leads to losses and stress. Okay. Now here is like he's stuck. Oh, that's right. That's really interesting. Let me just show you this one. The last column here, let's go over it like this. So this card is like you can't, sometimes it means like the fears that you have about certain the fear is not real, but it could also mean there's a multitude of meanings with the same idea, right? That there's somebody stuck and they can't move. Sometimes it's self-created, other times it's not. But here we have, if we do the like linear progression here, we have somebody that is in this position. Scholar is information. So information leads to the person feeling stuck. Here we have information about what parties, and then the mouse means stress and losses. So Trump is being you the information about his activity in the parties is what's driving his action. Oh, that's why it's saying that's why NATO has to share the information because they could say this is what they have and this is why he's acting this particular way. Okay. Here we have then it's center here, it's manipulation, friend, information letter about an invitation. So the manipulation happens. Oh, we're allies. We're just inviting each other to do things. And then we have here happy family, the house twice, departure. This is like the ship or foreign influence. Okay. So yeah. So that's right. This is it saying he's a puppet of Putin. So does the military? Yes, I think they know. What would the military do? What would the military do? So again, I think that yes, it's okay. So what will the military do about Trump? What will the military? Okay, past something about the past mistake. Wow, the tower upside down will cause so interesting. Issues of the past will cause the downfall. Okay. Something a trip, something foreign. Okay, lies, foreign lies. Visit. Okay. Or a visit could be like, oh, let's have a meeting about it. And this is a foreign lies. All right, here is money upside down, letter upside down, and then ideas, plans. So there's something shady about the money, something shady about the letter and the plans. So it tells me also that obviously Trump will go to them with saying something like, no, but Ukraine is the bad guy. They're not really the, and the military is like, listen, we have information. This is not right. I don't feel like at that point they are open for discussion. It's just the reality of the situation that, okay, the bear, look, the bear opportunity for the bear to become an ally. That's right. That's right. So, okay, so that's interesting. That's right. There is a visit here that causes that the downfall with the shady plans to help about the ally, but this could mean either our actual allies, but also the idea of Russia becoming an ally. So okay, so that's a little sign. All right. Okay. All right, guys. So thanks for the watching. I'm gonna go and post it. Okay. All right. Okay. Bye bye.